Want to get the best bang for your buck if you're using psychedelics for personal growth or for therapeutic reasons? Let's talk about how to navigate that journey. Hi, everybody. My name is Jill. Welcome back to the Journey Sage, and this is the channel where I talk about psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy and basically provide the information that I wish had been available to me when I was going through the therapy. Now, because I did get guided by my therapist and guide, who was a medical doctor at the time, I kind of take for granted the fact that I know how to navigate psychedelic experiences for my own therapeutic use and for personal growth. But the more people I've spoken to, very specifically the last 3 people, when I explained to them my process in going through journeys, they just kind of looked at me and they're like, well, I didn't know that I could even do that. So let me explain my way of navigating psychedelic journeys for my own mental health and personal growth. And I think the easiest way to think about it is if I keep using the metaphor of a road trip, because then I think it'll make a little bit more sense, since many people watching this video might not have ever been on a psychedelic journey, but most of us have gotten stuck in the car on a road trip. All right, with that said, the very first thing, if you watched any of my videos, you know that the very, very beginning process of a psychedelic journey for personal growth or mental health begins with the intentions. I mean, heck, I even wrote a workbook about it, showcasing the 8 different ways my therapist and I worked on my own intentions for my therapeutic journeys when I was healing my PTSD. Now, in terms of the road trip example, you want to think about intentions as setting the GPS for your destination. Now, a lot of people would say to me, Jill, that's maybe a little too specific when you're talking about intentions that need to be a little more general. Absolutely. You just have to have a general idea where you're going. So maybe instead of saying you want to go to a specific museum in a certain state, you just kind of say, hey, I want to go to a certain state. You know, I'm on the East Coast, so I would pick California because that would be an exciting road trip for me. So, hey, I want to go to California versus maybe I want to go to a specific city in that state. So that would maybe keep it a little bit general. Intentions for me are all about safety, about feeling fear, about feeling blocked. Hey, why am I feeling blocked? What's preventing me from doing X, Y, Z? I want to understand my behavior. Why am I still doing X, Y, Z? Those are intentions that I set. If you don't set an intention for your psychedelic journey, the journey can kind of ramble around and you aren't really sure why things come up in the journey. If you have intention set or if you have the GPS set, as more comes up in the journey, it kind of makes sense because you're kind of directing the information flow a bit. All right, so now, when you're on that road trip, hopefully for you, interesting things show up along the way. And maybe you want to take, a little detour and see the biggest rubber band ball, or you have stopped. I've stopped because I've seen really weird, like dinosaur sculptures. Hopefully things come up along the way that you are curious about and you want to stop and you want to take a look at it, explore. That curiosity, that's the secret to navigating your psychedelic journeys. And when I say navigate, it means, hey, medicine, I want to work on X, Y, Z. Now, I purposely closed my eyes because I'm an eye mask girl. But like, hey, medicine, I want to work on X, Y, Z. And then when something inevitably kind of comes up in your subconscious, get curious about it. Okay, why did that image of my father just come up? Why did that image of my dog just come up? Why did that image of the ocean just come up? Why did that memory from 15 years ago come up? Get curious. And that's the navigation. The navigation is not, I want this journey to go a certain way and I want to only focus on my intention and nothing else. The navigation is getting curious about the things that come up along the way to the intention. So just like that big giant, I have no idea why I have in my head a big giant ball of rubber bands, but I swear that must be around the US somewhere. or any sort of attraction where you say, hey, I'm going to spend a little bit of time here and investigate because I'm curious. All right. Now, here's the tough one. The tough one is sometimes in therapeutic and coaching journeys, there can be tough experiences. And what I mean by that is that you can be experiencing the emotions from a very difficult time in your life. And reliving those emotions, that's not fun. Part of navigating the experience is accepting what comes up and staying curious about it, even though it might be uncomfortable. So in terms of the road trip, this might be, maybe you have a problem with a tire. Maybe one of the lights in the dashboard goes. Maybe you don't have a lot of food. You wind up getting on a highway and the rest stop is closed. Sometimes stuff happens on a road trip. You have to accept it and you have to get curious. If there wasn't food on this road, maybe you need to turn off and go a different way. If a dashboard light comes on, you need to deal with that. You need to get curious and say, okay, what's causing that issue? If you have a tire, you need to pull over, take some time, get some help. And all of those different examples work the same way with the psychedelic journey. If something challenging comes up, I had an awful journey in October where I remembered the loneliness of after my mother had attempted suicide with a shotgun. And as a little 5-year-old girl feeling that loneliness, I had to kind of process those emotions because they hadn't been processed at the time. And you know how I processed them? I accepted they were there. I felt them. And then, just like if that tire were to go out on a car on a road trip, I called for support. I asked one of the facilitators for a hug and to hold my hand, and she kindly supplied that. And so reliving those emotions, accepting that that was what was happening, that I had to process that trauma, and getting some help to help me through those emotions, that's what navigating the situation is. And by doing that work, having the intention, hey, why do I feel kind of uncomfortable connecting with certain people, getting really curious why these memories when I was 5 were coming up, and then accepting when some of those very, very difficult, sad emotions were being felt and getting some help. That's how I navigated that experience. Whereas if you're not experienced with this process, those awful feelings coming up, you might just sit and wallow in them, or you might try to push them away, which would make an even more uncomfortable situation. The whole goal of using psychedelics therapeutically and for coaching or for self-growth is to walk towards, or in the road trip version, drive towards whatever the blockage or the issue is. And when you do that and you process whatever needs to be processed, that's when you get to finish the road trip, you get to come out of the journey, you get to process the insights, and you get to heal whatever that wound was. So navigating the psychedelic journey is kind of the way that you heal the past traumas and hurts that weren't able to be healed in the past for whatever reason. So there you go. That's my process. Make sure you have great intentions. Stay curious throughout the journey. Whatever comes up, you never know what's going to come up. Stay curious. Talk to the medicine. Why is this coming up? And then accepting and working with and through any difficult emotions or memories that might appear, because that's probably why you're there. You have to process that stuff that wasn't processed, way back when the situation actually happened. So I hope that is helpful. You can read about that process in Rescuing Jill. That's basically my memoir of the year of healing PTSD with MDMA therapy. And in the last third of the book, you actually get transcripts from the journey where you can see my doctors guiding me and helping me navigate the situation. The workbook is also on Amazon. And of course, there's a ton of resources over on the Journey Sage, my website, so feel free to head over there. And so with that, until next time, take care.